There we go. Sorry about that. Alright, and we are back. So we recently finished up Resident Evil 4, so I thought we'd go ahead and get back into Pokemon. When we left off last time, we beat Cypher Admin Ian at the Shadow Pokemon Laboratory. And we obtained a data disk, and then we immediately after we conveniently got a message from Net letting us know that if we find any important data, we should bring it back to him at the kids grid, which we are going to do right now. There we go. How did it go? Did you find any data? We hand the data ROM to Net. Oh, now this looks interesting. Let's scope it out right away. Oh hey, this data ROM appears to contain a list of shadow Pokemon that have been made so far. Ah, but no, it looks like they wiped the data. Please leave this with me. I'll somehow try retrieving information from this data ROM, even if it means going over it little by little. As soon as I discover anything, I'll email your PDA. So Net's going to be working on that. So let's see. I will say I did do a little bit of grinding in between sessions just to bring us back up to where the other characters are going to be. So we do have that. It might not be a bad idea to go back. I think maybe we have to talk to Duking about where we're going next. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. And we can, of course, just get to Pyrite from right here. We have to fight her again. You have to fight her every time you use the elevator. And I believe her Pokemon do scale, yeah, because they're level 38. Okay. Got Surf? Yeah, Surf would be good. Peter's almost ready to level up. It always struck me as weird that like they decided to make Vibrava and Dragon or Flygon rather Dragon ground types of all things, even though they're clearly inspired by dragonflies. I don't know. Would have been cool, I think, to have like a dragon bug type. And we can just make our way out here through the front door. Duking is around here in this building that has a symbol on it that suspiciously looks like the GameCube logo. He got anything for us? What were those two women up to on the ground floor of that beat up building? I think he's talking about, um, Mirror B's other cronies. We can open the door here. Okay, so that was about the elevator. I can't quite remember what we're supposed to do next. Maybe the PDA will give us a clue. Okay, lab data. Might be able to ask the fortune teller. I think she can point you in the right direction. Deep under the ground. Were we meant to stay in the under? Was there somewhere in the under we were meant to go? I can't remember. I guess we should try. Oh. Oh, okay, so the tower is open now. Okay, so that construction lot... That construction lot that's been there the whole game is now officially complete. A massive Colosseum, Realgem Tower. Real game? Real gem? Real... I don't know. Today's opening day. Expecting you. Now please go in. Now why would they be expecting me? So there's a like a model of the tower there. So we can go around and we can explore a bit. Look who it is! So what this basically amounts to is a kind of gauntlet where you have to refight all of the Cypher admins. Each one of them drops a like special stone or key or something that you need in order to get into the actual, like, the top floor of Relgum. We're actually pretty close to the end of the game here. Well, I say close, but there's a lot of battles between here and there. But we're in the final location, at least. This actually isn't too great of a thing here. Go ahead and we'll swap out. Well, that's heartbreaking. Not really sure what to do now. I guess send out oregano. Should have brought Umbreon and Espeon, actually. Wasn't thinking about it. That's a big oof. Yeah. I don't know if that Ludicolo actually has any. I'm probably doing a. This is probably a bad idea, but well, that kind of fucks up my whole plan. Well, fuck me, I guess. It looks like we'll just about get a win. Definitely need to reorganize my team though. It's not very well balanced right now. Yep, the ID badges. So obviously we're gonna have to go and heal now. There is a Pokemon healing thing here, but it's I don't quite remember where it is, and there might be like cipher goons between here and there, so probably just gonna go to Fennec or whatever. Okay. Definitely want Umbreon and Espeon back in because they're both really good. Oof. Maybe I won't use Vibrava just because it's not that great. Okay, dark type, water, ground, grass, electric, fire, rock, dragon, flying. I don't know if your Crispy is really gonna do much for us here. Ganium ain't that great either, all honesty. Yeah, we're gonna switch out Meganium. Nope, don't want to do that. I think if we head right... Empty room. Plays that ominous music. Oh, there's Dakim. We can beat him. Still rocking the leotard, I see. So he's got a Flygon and a Whiscash. Wish. Is it Whish? It looks like Whiscash. I guess that makes more because it's got whiskers, so because it's meant to be like a catfish. So they're both ground types. He's probably gonna use like, you know, Earthquake or whatever. So we'll go ahead and switch out. Now, if the first time you fought these guys, you missed a chance to catch their shadow Pokemon, you do get another chance at this opportunity. Yeah, Earthquake. Now, so now he's using the Earthquake strat. Oh my gosh, that did a lot of damage. Hmm. Well, it looks like Flygon's readying a Solar Beam. Well, actually, let's love that when it's like, oh, it's super effective. Oh, I wish it acted like it. Oh, Ice Beam. Brilliant. Yep, one hit KO. This is a little ditty I like to call Dead on Turn 1. That Solar Beam is most definitely coming for Waffles. So you should probably do something about that. I guess Espeon. Well, this kind of sucks. I'm kind of wishing that we did have Meganium. It's that old adage, you know, damned if you do, damned if you don't, I guess. Yep. Oh, it's a Whisk Cash at least. Fuck it, I guess we'll send out your Crispy. Yeah. Back-to-back Earthquakes are my favorite. The best part is that I can't do damage to... Yeah, and he's got Hyper Potions too. Can't hurt either one of them because they're both ground types. Oh man, fuck me. That's a wipe. Yeah, now I gotta reorganize the team again. Uh... Wish Cash is gonna be a pain to deal with because it can use Ice Beam. So that kind of nullifies anything we've got that has any sort of advantage. Maybe we'll go fight one of the other ones and then come back to Dakim. You can fight them in any order. It doesn't have to be the order that you originally fought them in. And yeah, like I was saying earlier, if you, for whatever reason, missed the chance to get their Shadow Pokemon, this gives you another chance. I don't think that it will give you another one after this, though. Like, it's either now or never. The sequel is a bit more forgiving about that. They added in a way to get most of them the second time around. Although I think there are still a few that are, you know, that you'll miss. He was a bad guy the whole time. That nice old man who offered us direction. The Cypher Peon bow pen. Deal with Dustox first. Dustox is more dangerous. Yeah. We'll fight some of the grunts to get some of that sweet, sweet EXP. Gah! So this is it. Nobody knows. Yeah, okay, now we can heal and stuff. Okay, so we just need to remember that this is where the healing place is. And then I think up here is the actual door that leads to... I guess it's a bit further up. Cypher Peon Arton. Arton? Arton? I don't know. Dillybird and Piloswine. Both ice types. Oh. And Delibird is a shadow Pokemon. We will confuse him and Psybeam on the Piloswine. Well, there is actually one other thing we need to do. You can get a Master Ball in this game by talking to Egan. He'll give you a Master Ball. This is making my balls ache. Sorry, that was a bit much. Glalie. Is Glalie a pure ice type? I can't remember if it's like an ice dark type or not. Earthquake. When it's Glalie, no Earthquake. Uh, my team is quite weak to ice types. I guess waffles. Mm, see if we can catch Delibird before it KOs itself. Nice. Wow. What a deal. Speaking of memes, I recently read in the news that that the government is like seriously considering banning TikTok from the United States. Which I mean, I have no love for TikTok. Like I'm too old, and I'm not really invested in social media platforms anymore, or content platforms, I guess. Uh, I mean, except Twitch, obviously, but uh, I don't know. Um, I can't help but feel like it's like it's either useless to try to curb it now because there are already so many other platforms similar to TikTok that people just go to. They're doing it on the basis of like security, saying that through TikTok, because TikTok is owned by a Chinese company, which is like a subsidiary of Tencent or whatever. I don't know. Uh, that they're going to use that information to spy on Americans or whatever, and it's like they already know, what Americans are up to. They like most phones are like manufactured in China. Like they don't need to put the apps on them. It just seems like it's more about creating a non-competitive environment than it is about helping Americans, I guess, keeping American children safe. So that way, people in Silicon Valley can make their own platforms without having to compete with TikTok. I don't know. I've been reading a lot about like a lot of anti-competitive stuff. Why can I not catch this bird? We're gonna have to go buy more Pokeballs. Maybe we can do a secret power on it. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, and a paralyze. Okay, that helps. In terms of speaking of other antitrust stuff, I've also been reading in the news that like I guess Microsoft is trying to buy Activision Blizzard, and Sony's making a big stink about it. Which I mean, I can't really blame them. I guess like Microsoft does own quite a bit of like the gaming market because they own both Xbox and the PC platforms essentially. There we go. I'm gonna have to go back and heal. So I could understand they have a right to be worried, I guess. I don't think that they would make Activision Blizzard games uh like Xbox exclusives. I don't think so, just because Microsoft, well, they don't really have strong exclusives, I guess, but like they never really have, except for I guess Halo and Gears of War. Those aren't really system killers, I guess, though. Um, okay, I needed to go get some stuff before we come back. But I guess there's also, like gamers or whatever the outlets are calling them, the gamers lawsuit, where gamers are trying to stop uh the acquisition. And again, I could see like where they'd be worried. Like a consolidation, can't really be good because yeah, it cuts down on competition and whatever. So, I guess we'll see what their decision is. They already said like they didn't think it was a big deal. So, I guess we'll see. I don't know. Lately, the American court system's kind of been uh, disappointing me as someone who appreciates, uh, like freedom of expression and whatever. We're not hearing about all these districts like banning books and stuff. Like, I get it. Like, if the book has like, explicit content like violence in it or whatever, but I don't know. Other stuff, it just seems like it's like kids can probably read that, and I think they would be fine. He's supposed to. Maybe we have to wait for a message from him. I thought we could get it early, but I guess not. That's alright. We'll come back. We'll come back. Like I said, we still got a while to go. There is a Metagross in this game that you can acquire. Metagross has like the lowest catch rate of basically any Pokemon, so usually I just save the Master Ball for that one. Can we fight Akeem? We'll work towards it. We'll think about it. If I have to, I guess I'll just do more grinding. I'm not really like, even though I like Pokemon like as a concept and everything, and some of the games are pretty great. Although the most recent games are not that great. I'm not a big fan of grinding in video games. Like, it's different when like the grind's fun, but when it's in sort of a statistical RPG like Pokemon, where it's not really so much skill based as much as it is stat based, then it comes across as annoying. I can enjoy the grinding games like Monster Hunter, because Monster Hunter is more skill based, although, I guess that's not entirely true. Like, the gear you bring definitely has a component to it, but like, it's much more responsive to like player skill levels. Like, if you're a skilled hunter, you can fight a monster that you don't have a good matchup against. Whereas with Pokemon, like, if you've got a bad matchup where like you're under leveled or whatever, or you have a bad type, then that's gonna make it pretty difficult to make any headway. And then you just end up relying on luck. Monster Hunter is more about preparation, really. Like, working towards the armor or the weapon that you need in order to then fight whatever monster is your real target. Like, making sure that you eat before the hunt, like, and get skills that benefit you in that situation, uh, along with your build or whatever. Do like me some Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter World was like probably one of the most immersive and impressive games that I've played. I put a lot of time in that. I made it all the way up to oh, what's his name? The big black dragon. Fatalis, yeah, Black Fatalis, yeah. I actually, because the Nintendo eShop closed down not too long ago, I actually downloaded. Capcom had a big sale of their games, so I actually downloaded Monster Hunter 3 and Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate because they made them like less than $5 each, so can't pass that up. Sad, but ultimately, I mean, I guess the eShop had to go at some point. The 3DS and Wii U are quite old at this point, and they've already sort of been outshined. I mean, I guess they've definitely been outshined by uh, the Switch. Well, the Switch is starting to get up there in age too. Like, it won't be too long, you know. Like, I like the Switch, although I think its build quality could be better. Like, I don't know. I feel like Nintendo's been kind of slacking on their quality assurance lately. Like, games coming out that are barely playable. You know, consoles coming out that are like breaking apart, like with Joy-Con drift and stuff. I don't know. I just expect better. And the fact that we're not getting it, like, I feel like more people should be upset about it. Like, it's Nintendo, you know? Like, they make the video games. Most of the games they make are considered the pinnacles of their genre, you know? Like, Pokemon as a franchise is the most profitable and prolific franchise in human history. I think we can deserve better than, like, 24 frames a second. I never noticed before, but Jumpluff's shadow is very blocky. Wonder if that has to do with how they rendered its puffs. Because Jumpluff is really just a collection of circles, I guess. So I wonder if they just did like billboard models where it's just like a flat image that always faces the camera. That's a little cheat code if you're doing like any kind of spherical rendering in a video game. Is just make them billboards. Mm. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, it's like how enemies and stuff are rendered in Doom. You know how it's like it's a 3D world, but they're 2D sprites that are just constantly aligned towards you, so it's like they're always facing you. It's that sort of thing. It's much cheaper than rendering like an actual 3D model, especially if it's something like a sphere, which is conceptually the same no matter what angle you view it from, barring any specific lighting, of course. A little something I picked up when I was in college. I don't like that. Aha! You are the fool. I think, yeah, fairy types don't exist yet in this generation, so Wigglytuff's still just normal type, I guess. Oof. That's a big oof. I guess we could switch out Espeon for Waffles. Ugh, cute charm. Uh, uh, what the fuck? I guess we can throw out Poppy, and then maybe get off an Earthquake. An Earthquake would be good. If we don't this turn, I might have to use a Paralyzed Heal on Waffles. Do I have a... I should have Paralyzed Heals. There they are. Fuck my life. Dude, I cannot even right now. I am irrationally upset right now. I don't even remember what I was talking about. There we go. Okay, Alright, so both of those Pokemon are male. So... hmm. I should have used Safeguard. I'm such an idiot. Safeguard would have helped a lot. Safeguard block against Attract? I don't know. Blossom. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Okay. Sure. know this is suboptimal. Terrible idea. My team just like sucks against all these comps. Mean look. What does that do again? Prevents escape. Well, that's not really useful for us. Don't worry about that. It's not really going to become a thing we need to do. The AI in this game does not switch out very often, so I'm not too worried about that. Makes me sad. Milotech's got a lot of health. Or high defenses, I can't tell. I wonder if we can get Espeon back into the fight. That would be nice. It's becoming kind of a war of attrition. Oh, fuck me. Let's try switching out for a better result. You know, the enemy can use, like, body slam and get 3 paralyzes back to back, but, you know, fuck me if I just want even one, you know what I'm saying? Yep. This is probably a wipe. That sucks. I guess I didn't train them up as much as I should have. My Pokemon are like 10 levels behind. Yep, that's about right. Well, I guess it's back to Mount Battle. So the way the Mount Battle actually works is that once you clear an area, it's split up into 10 areas. Once you clear an area, you can just go ahead and start like after it. So like once you clear Area 5, you can just go ahead and start from Area 6 if you want. So that makes things a bit easier. Okay. So this is Zone 51, so this is about halfway up Mount Battle. Now the Pokemon here are about level 40. This actually isn't a good matchup because they're both electric types, so we'll go ahead and we'll swap out immediately. Also, another great thing is that your Pokemon get healed after each battle, so you don't have to like go back and forth, trying to heal them or whatever. And you can just sort of quit whenever you feel like it. Although if you don't finish an area, then it doesn't save your progress, so... And after you complete each area, you get a little bonus. You get an item, and you get some, battle coupons, which can be traded in for various TMs and held items. Plan on going to see that new Mario Brothers movie at some point soon. It was kind of weird that we've got kind of a gaming movie renaissance going on. You know, for most of the time while I was growing up, video game movies were not very good. And they were sort of more like jokey movies, you know. I guess some people had fond memories of like the Resident Evil movies, but I guess like something horror or action based probably translates better. But I guess it all sort of started with Wreck-It Ralph, and since then, you know, they've been making better video game movies. I don't know. It's just I like it because I like video games, so you know it stands to reason I'd probably enjoy a video game movie. But uh, there is there is also the part of me that recognizes that an art medium like video games does not translate to movies very well. You know, like when you watch a movie, you're doing so from an outside perspective. Like, you know, a movie is not about like, oh wow, it's like I'm really there with like I'm the main character. Like that's not really what it's about. You know, like usually from a movie, you're like a third person. Like you have no way of interacting with the story, whereas in a video game, that's all you do is just constantly interact. You know, like if they were gonna make a movie based on like a Pokemon game rather than the anime, it would be very difficult. Like a movie without a main character like Ash, because most of the Pokemon main characters don't talk, so they don't really control. And that's what I guess a better example would have been something like a Legend of Zelda movie, I guess, because Link never talks, you know. So how do you sort of build a character around him? I mean, I guess there was the Legend of Zelda animated series, but people don't really talk about that. You know, the one where he goes, "Excuse me, princess." That, you know, there aren't really a lot of uh, good examples like that. I guess it's a little easier for something like Mario and Luigi because Mario and Luigi have, you know, determined characteristics, I guess, and they do kind of talk a bit. It's like, you know, Mario is. I guess Mario really doesn't have a lot of personality. If anything, Luigi's got more personality, I guess. I guess Mario's brave, but that's usually a component of all video game protagonists, except Luigi, which, you know, that's kind of the point, is that he's meant to be kind of a... He embodies, like, opposite characteristics of Mario, but not, I guess, in the same way that a character like Wario does. Uh... But yeah, we've got kind of a video game movie renaissance going on. That sort of, I guess, kicked off with Wreck-It Ralph, you know, and since then we've had like the Sonic movies. The Sonic movies are pretty good. Sonic is another one that works weirdly well as in like a movie structure because Sonic has a well-defined personality. Like we control him directly through the games, but he has, you know, like he's a bit, you know, cocky and like he likes to go fast, very fast, you know. And he's got his friend like Tails is the smart one, and Knuckles is, you know, the strong, hot-headed one, and Amy likes Sonic because she's a girl, you know. And that's her whole personality. And Eggman's the bad guy, and Shadow is the edgelord, and all that. But after Wreck-It Ralph and the Sonic movies, we had a few other ones. The Monster Hunter movie, I was surprised when that happened. It wasn't very good, for anyone who was wondering. It's not very good. They try to take the logic of Monster Hunter and just shove it into like a generic action fantasy setting. It doesn't really work. Monster Hunter is another one of those series, like, better played than watched. Layton. I wonder if that's a reference to Professor Layton. Well, I guess maybe that could also be pronounced Latin, like the dead language. But yeah, we got a new Mario Brothers movie. We had all the Sonic movies that were pretty decent, all things considered. Like, none of it's been like groundbreaking, I guess, you know, but pretty decent. It all comes back to like video games, I guess, becoming more accessible in our culture. Like, video games used to be considered sort of niche, but now everyone plays video games. One, because, you know, we all use so many digital devices now, like, especially with smartphones and stuff. Everyone's like, oh, why wouldn't I just put, like, a game on my phone to play, like, while I'm out and bored? You know? Pokemon Go, surprisingly enough, I think was pretty instrumental in bringing Pokemon to the mainstream, you know? Lots of people I went to school with who, like, never picked up a Pokemon game were way into Pokemon Go, and that at least gets it more exposure, I guess. Although I kind of feel like maybe that put the dollar signs in Nintendo's eyes, which might be inadvertently leading to the difficulties we're having now. Although that could also just be the pessimist in me. I just assume any corporation or whatever is, you know, just out to make a quick buck, which I think is, I don't know if that's pessimistic or realist or whatever, but I try not to put too much faith in the corporations. Put faith in your fellow man, the things that you can do to make the world a better place. Pressure your local congressman to, you know, rein in those corporations, make sure they're paying their taxes and stuff. It's crazy to me that corporations get by with not paying their taxes on such a regular basis. Okay, I'm sorry to get a little, if this sounds a little political, although then we're getting into a whole nother discussion, which is everything's political, by the way. It's just about whether or not you find it offensive. If it's offensive to you and you don't like it, then you just call it political, you know? But everything's political. It was, I think it was Aristotle, wasn't it who called human the political animal? Like, it's just, politics is just what we do. Like, politics is just a natural continuation of our culture. But you know, contact your local congressman, tell them you don't like it, that corporations get away with doing so much. Like, they get to dump shit like in the rivers and the lakes and stuff, and they get to who do I want to switch in here? I guess I'm Breon. I don't like it. I don't like it. But it's crazy to me that corporations can get away with paying, like, zero taxes. You've got this big-ass company like Amazon or Apple or whatever, and, you know, they've abused so many tax loopholes, like, they're actually paying nothing. Like, there's a decent chance that you paid more in taxes than a massive corporation. Rich people, too. Rich people also don't pay their taxes like they should. At least not the ones who are in the news, I guess. Like, there probably are independently wealthy people, although that doesn't actually exist. Newsflash, there's no such thing as being independently wealthy. Like, if someone says they're independently wealthy, that means that they've just, you know, they've managed to collect other people's wealth. Like, you don't create wealth, you just acquire it, really. Like, all the wealth already exists, you're just hoarding it like a big fat-ass dragon. I'm letting my politics kind of leak out here. I don't know. I don't know why rich people hoard their wealth so much. Like, because, like, you know, of our economy, like, everything sort of circulates. Like, if rich people were more, uh, if rich people, like, let more of it go, it'd probably just end up right back to them, you know? Like, money doesn't really disappear from our economy, it just changes hands. The same thing is that wealth is not really created or destroyed, because wealth is inherent to resources, I guess. I mean, I guess resources can be used up, but, uh, then it just becomes, you know, like, something else, I guess. Like, if you burn a gallon of gasoline, like, the gasoline isn't really gone so much as it's been transformed into energy, I guess. I don't know. Enemies are starting to get a little, and they're up to the 43s now. What was I saying? Oh yeah. No matter what side of the spectrum you're on, like if you're more liberal or more conservative, the most important thing you can do is get out there and vote. Just get out there and vote. Like, no matter who you are, like, I don't care if you are for or against or whatever, just get out there and vote. That's the biggest thing. Like, they've made voting very, like, voting has become very difficult, which is strange given the digitization of our modern era. Like, voting is still quite difficult to do. You can register to vote online, at least, I guess, and you can order a mail-in ballot. That's what I do. I do mail-in ballots. Pretty easy. Just fill in a few bubbles. They should go back to making voting day a holiday. It used to be. Like, people get off work and out of school for it. I think they should go back to that. But everyone's like so busy with their stuff, you know, who can make time to go vote anymore? People got kids and jobs, school work to do. If it wasn't for mail-in ballots, I wouldn't have been able to even vote when I was in school. College, rather. So get out there and vote. I know it's a pain, but, you know, nothing will get better if you don't, and, whoever the people are that you don't like, so I'm trying to be, like, apolitical on this, like, whoever is doing the things that you don't like being done, they're out there voting. So you should, if nothing else, like, use it to nullify one of their votes. I also don't like the Electoral College. That's a whole another thing, though. The Electoral College is crazy, because it's just, like, it's so strange to me that, like, so many times we've had it to where, like, a president wins the popular vote, but they lose the electoral. So it's like, okay, so more people, like, statistically wanted this person to be president, but because of crazy shenanigans, this person's actually going to be president, you know? And it keeps happening, and I don't like it. I feel like we're past the point where we should have become more of a direct democracy. The founding fathers, of course, you know, they were worried, you know, because they're trying out this whole new political system, like an all the way up democracy, which hadn't really been done before the United States. So they were worried that people would make the wrong decision, but you know, if you prevent people from making any decision, then they'll never get smarter. So like with how communication stuff works now being near instantaneous, we probably should have moved over to a direct democracy. And you know, people are going to defend it, but like, oh, but then the states with more people will have more voting power. And it's like, yeah, more people live there, you know? So, I don't know, that just makes more sense to me. It's like more people live, like, in the big states, so yeah, they probably should have more voting power. Like, most people live, you know, in urban societies, like, that's just kind of how things are moving. You know, everyone wants to preserve the small town America, and it's like, it's kind of obsolete at this point. Like, I live in a small town, and I gotta tell you, it's not that great. And I don't think that... and I don't, you know, think that that's necessarily, like, I don't think it's something that needs to be fixed so much as it is a problem that kind of just needs to be, uh, like, the solution to the problem is not to, like, reinvigorate small towns by trying to bring back the coal industry. We should be moving away from fossil fuels, not digging deeper into it, for one. I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on, like, and I don't care if you don't believe in climate change, because I know you're wrong, so... And maybe that's, you know, maybe that's pig-headed of me, but I believe in science, and the science says climate change real, so I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. But I think that for the most part, we probably all should be moving towards the big cities, I guess. This probably isn't a good idea, but I guess it would be something like Death Stranding, which is a game I really like, by the way. I think that's a really good game. Probably one of Kojima's best, all things considered. Uh, Quick side tangent, Kojima is, like, basically the god of video games, so if you've never played a Kojima game, get out there and play one, like any of them, you know? Because they're all great. But for anyone who's not aware, the setting of Death Stranding is, you know, after a sort of paranormal, I guess you'd call it, uh, paranormal apocalypse where the laws of death have basically changed, you know, what's left of humanity, specifically the United States of America, because we don't really get a look into like what's going on in other parts of the world because everyone's sort of been cut off from each other. What is left of humanity lives like in these semi-isolated cities, and the whole point of Death Stranding is to reconnect these cities. You know, there's like East Knot City, Central Knot City, uh, West Knot City, all that. You're trying to reconnect all the cities of America to basically rebuild the United States. And I don't know, like I feel like cities are just the better way to go. Like in small towns, you know, everything's so spread out. Like you can't even if your town has cool stuff, you know, you can't get to it. Big cities tends to be a lot easier to justify things like public transportation, which is way better. Like I don't like cars. And, like no one in the big city drives. You take a bus or the subway or the train or streetcar or whatever you've got. And like it's significantly, you know, from just a money point of view, it's way cheaper. to just move people by public transportation than it is to uh, give everyone their own car. Like a car takes up, so a car takes up about as much road space, or rather, a bus takes up about as much road space as what, like 3 cars maybe, back to back. But those cars can hold maybe a total of like 12 people, but a bus can hold like 30 for that same space. Also, job creation. If you're interested in America's job market, more public transportation means more people to operate those transportation services, and that money just goes like right back into making the city better. Like, in order for wealth to be useful, it needs to constantly be changing hands. Probably should have gotten rid of that Goldeen first. No, that actually wasn't that bad. Is Horn Attack not a flying type move? I guess it's not. I guess that wouldn't really make sense. It makes more sense if it's like a normal type move, I guess. Can Goldeen learn Peck? It probably can. Do, 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 do. That last water type I threw out didn't work. Maybe try another water type. I don't like how so many water type Pokemon go belly up when they get KO'd. Like, I guess it makes sense, but we all had that pet fish that we really loved that went belly up. I read an article that kind of screwed me up today. Don't know if I should talk about this, but uh, so I guess up in like Northern California, there was this girl who was like a 9-year-old girl or whatever, who was part of her county's local 4-H group. Which, for anyone who isn't aware, 4-H is like this national, man, a national organization, I guess, to teach. That's about teaching children, how to be self-sufficient through like farming and agriculture and life skills, like sewing, weaving. But they've recently been doing stuff like art and computer science, because those are things that are useful in our modern society as well. Which I can at least appreciate that. Just trying to make people self-sufficient. Like, there isn't really a problem with that, although I don't think any one person can be entirely self-sufficient, but that's I'm getting off topic here. So anyway, this 9-year-old girl was part of her local 4-H group, and for her 4-H thing, they had her take care of a goat, you know, like for the farming aspect of it. So it was this goat named Cedar. Well, the girl ended up becoming very attached to Cedar, and when the time came to give him up for auction to be slaughtered and sold as meat, she didn't want to do it because she loved Cedar and did not enjoy the idea of him being sold for profit and then killed, which I can understand, you know. I don't know. I get it that it's not totally feasible. Like, some people gotta farm animals to eat, but it just feels like the whole 4-H thing is like low key indoctrinating kids to make them okay with that. You know, like animals. Like it very much like it like either, you know, whether or not it's intentional or not, like programs like 4-H that teach children how to do those kinds of things are promoting the idea that animals are just, you know, products, basically. Like, they are to be, you know, bought, raised, sold, and slaughtered, you know, to end up on people's dinner plate, which, regardless of your, you know, views on animal rights or whatever, it just doesn't seem very humane, and I'm not a fan. And, like, I know I can't talk shit because, you know, I eat meat, but I don't farm animals, so I guess I've never really become attached to... I've never become attached to an animal that was raised for the purposes of becoming dinner. So, I don't know. It's a little harder for me, but I could understand it. Like, I don't think I could work in agriculture, honestly, because I probably would become attached to the animal, and then I would feel bad about eating it. I don't know, I just think animals need to be treated better. I know it's not always realistic, but Jesus Christ, like, we gotta be able to do better than what we've got, right? Like, they, you know, so this girl didn't want to give up her goat, so, she and her mom ended up taking the goat from the fair after it had already, you know, it had been up for auction and someone had bought it at auction, although the actual transaction had not, like, yet taken place. It wasn't finalized. So, you know, this goat technically did not belong to the person who bought it yet. So they just took the goat and they left. They took it back home and they sent the frickin' police after them with, like, a search warrant for the goat. And I'm just like, that is really screwed up, you know? I don't know. Although this has, like, the setup for sort of like a movie or a book or whatever, does not have a happy ending. The goat was forcibly taken and killed. You know, which is, you know, still fucked up, but I don't know. I feel like we can be doing better. Oof. Oof. Big oof. I guess we'll send out waffles. Let's see if we can get rid of that Corsola. I think Corsola is a water rock type, right? That makes sense, because it's coral or whatever. Coral's another thing that's in trouble because of climate change. We should probably be looking into doing something about. The oceans are becoming warmer and more acidic, so it's becoming a difficult place for coral to live. And coral is basically the foundation of which, like, the ocean's environment is based on. Like, it's a literal, like, foundation. Like, it's an actual living thing. But it takes a long time to grow, so they're working on trying to reintroduce coral. But the oceans obviously, like, aren't getting any better, so they've got to fix that first, really. I don't know. I did see a thing that actually made me feel kind of good. Like, I'm not just going to talk about this depressing stuff. I did see a thing that was talking about how, you know, basically every day, like, more of the Earth's power, like, humanity's, like, energy is generated from renewable resources. That made me feel better, okay? So it's not all doom and gloom. Like, I know I do think that climate change is a big issue that we need to think of a quick and decisive response to, but that at least makes me feel a little better. Like, all in all, I think that humanity will probably continue to exist. Ah, man, that's my own fault. Humanity will probably continue to exist. You know, like, I don't think that like climate change is like a big problem, but I don't think it's going to be the problem that ends humanity. So we've at least got that going for us, I guess. Grass whistle. What's that move do? Is that a sleep move? Yes. Okay, this is the last zone in this area. I'm gonna take the EXP share off Poppy. Didn't get as much XP as I would have liked, but maybe we'll get some more in the next zones. Let's get rid of that Wigglytuff, because I can already tell it's going to be a pain. I hope I live long enough to meet me some aliens. I know that's kind of out of left field, but someone who has a love for all things science fiction and fantasy, the idea of actually meeting aliens is very, very near and dear to me, you know? Um, I don't know how many people have heard about Fermi's paradox. So this is the thing where, uh, so the idea behind Fermi's paradox, for anyone who's unaware, is that uh, the ingredients for life should be fairly common throughout the universe. You know, things like carbon and water, uh, the chemical ingredients basically that arrange themselves into the organic molecules that make up our bodies. Like those are fairly common throughout the universe. So and there are, you know, like trillions of stars throughout the universe, and each one of those stars can have like, you know, up to 9 or so planets. Like that's about how many we've got, 8 or 9 if you count Pluto or not. Um, so the question becomes like, you know, where is everyone? Which is a, you know, a pretty good question, you know. So this was this guy named Fermi who was like, you know, where is everyone? And that's where the Fermi's paradox comes from. If, you know, if the universe should be teeming with life, like why haven't we come into contact with them yet? A theory that's been gaining a lot of steam recently is that we're actually early. And what I mean by early is that, like, sort of this moment in time now that we exist in uh, is kind of the earliest that life could really exist in the universe. Uh, a thing that's in sort of the similar vein of this is that Boba Fett's got a shadow tag. Never mind, no switching out, I guess. What was I gonna say? A thing that works into this is that, like, so you know the Earth was formed about 4 billion years ago, and the oceans came about a billion years after that. So about 3 billion years ago is when Earth's oceans formed, and life pretty much formed like right after the oceans came into being. You know, like basically like once the Earth cooled off enough that life could exist, life did exist. That's pretty good for, you know, the probability of life. Like basically the soonest that life could have appeared on Earth, it did. That means that, you know, I mean we've only got the one data point to go off of, obviously, because we don't know about life anywhere else in the universe. But oh my gosh, that was a nasty mirror coat. Um, we don't know about life anywhere else in the universe, so we've only got the one data point, which is us on our planet. But the fact that life appeared so early is a good sign that that the universe, that life could exist throughout the universe, you know, in the likely places, basically, like other rocky planets with, you know, that are cool enough for water. And who knows, maybe other places beyond that if other biochemistries are viable. Um, but yeah, the idea is basically that we are the earliest, or among the earliest, of intelligent life. So any other life that exists throughout the universe is either, like at this point, is either only slightly ahead or, uh, you know, all like way behind us. Like we're basically the progenitor race that like other science fiction talks about, like, oh, they disappeared 100 million years ago and all we have is their funny internet memes to go off of. The idea, it's basically that idea, like we are the progenitor race that will expand throughout the galaxy. I mean that's good because it puts us sort of on equal footing with other oh, got our poke coupons. Yeah, we're gonna go keep going. I don't know. It makes me feel better though, because it's like if we do meet any aliens, like maybe we'll sort of be on equal terms. It also means that the race for the galaxy um, is, still ahead of us, I guess. There's a lot of expansion that's is still to be done in our universe, so I guess we'll see about that. Uh, Bug types. Oh, not so good. Not so good. Yeah, but I want to meet me some aliens. Don't know if they're nice. Don't know if they're, uh, you know, open to the idea of communication. But just knowing, I guess, that there is someone else out there, even if they don't want to talk to us, would make me feel a lot better. I don't know. Probably, I guess there's a decent chance it won't happen in our lifetimes. It all depends on like whether or not faster than light travel is actually possible, which there's no real reason to assume that it is at this point. So I guess we'll have to work on the assumption that it isn't, meaning that if you want to get from point A to point B, the only way to do it is to put yourselves in a ship and just fly for 1,000 years or more. I've definitely heard that a lot too, as on the aliens front, which is, if there were aliens that came before us, like even a million years before us, they should have had plenty of time to expand out to like their nearby stars, basically. And if there was a big alien civilization out there, we probably would have caught wind of them by now from their, radio emissions or their light or whatever, or maybe they would have even made their way to Earth by now if they were close enough. Um, Although one thing that I don't see a lot of like theories, I guess, take into account is like genetic drift. I wish more people talked about that. I guess, which is that if these journeys really do take like thousands of years to get from one star to the next, like there's got to be a lot of genetic drift that goes on, right? Like, and you can't even keep in contact or anything because any sort of communication is going to be limited by the speed of light. So like once once you send off your colony ship to Alpha Centauri, they're basically going to be like different people. Alpha Centauri is like 30 light years away. It would take 30 years to like send a message and then another 30 to get the reply if they decide to, you know. Oh gosh, just going to keep using protect. But yeah, basically once you send your colony ship out, like that, they're gonna become a different people altogether. And like by the time they even reach their destination, depending on how long it's been, they might be like substantially biologically different to humans. Imagine what it would be like evolving on a spaceship. You've got this like very small enclosed sterile environment. Uh, Assuming that like artificial gravity isn't a thing, then you've got to spend all that time like in 0 G. So, what kind of effect, like long term, does that have on the human body? We've had astronauts up in the space station for a while now, and uh, it seems like your bones start to disintegrate. So, I don't know. Space is very dangerous. Like even our most advanced spaceships cannot take you very far in space. Like anywhere except the Earth is, or other planets, is pretty hostile to life. There's lots of radiation out there. You gotta be careful. Refresh. No. No, 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 no. There's lots of radiation out there, though. I saw another thing about how, like, even if we did, you know, send people out with the colony ships and stuff, like, they're probably all gonna get cancer, from all the radiation. Like, space is very irradiated. Earth is kept safe by its magnetic field, which is kind of like a energy shield, like in Star Trek, that blocks phaser fire or whatever. The sun's constantly sending out uh, radiation across the whole spectrum. All the way from radio and X-ray, infrared, visible light, which is the very small amount that we can actually see. A lot of that gets deflected by the Earth's magnetic field, which is another thing, which is that, like, that sort of limits the spread of life. Life is unlikely to evolve on a planet that has no magnetic field because it will constantly be subjected to the radiation of its nearest star and other, like, cosmic rays and stuff. That's another difficulty that would come of trying to, like, set up any sort of colony on Mars. Mars doesn't have a magnetic field, not like Earth's, at least. Mars is constantly being bombarded with radiation. So we'd probably have to set up some sort of, like, protection. Like, all the buildings would have to be made of lead or something, probably. There's a lot of hurdles to overcome. Another thing that bugs me, going back to rich people, Elon Musk, okay? So Elon Musk, as I'm sure you're all aware, is the new famous, crazy billionaire that everyone's talking about. Like, he's got all these companies and shit. That's, like, trying to do sci-fi shit, which I can appreciate, at least, because I like science fiction. But the best part about science fiction, I guess, is that some of the things stay fiction. Humanoid androids that want to kill humanity, I'd rather that stayed fiction. He wants to put brain chips in people. I don't like that. It's not a good look. I think that means Umbreon can't switch back out now. Let's switch Espeon out for Waffles. And then we can use Surf to clean this up. We should have switched out Waffles earlier. What was I talking about? Elon Musk, yeah, so he wants to do all sorts of crazy stuff. Like putting people on Mars and everything, which, again, I get it, But I think maybe we should, like, hold off on the whole putting people on Mars thing until we, the Earth in a more stable condition. Like, make no mistake, like, living on Mars is not gonna be fun. Like, imagine, I mean, I guess it would be a lot like, living in a submarine. Like, submarines suck because it's a small enclosed metal space that you have to spend, maybe a few months at a time in. Like, if you're in the Navy or whatever. But imagine that, like, that was your life now. Like, it wouldn't be that fun, would it? And that's how it's gotta be for basically forever. Like any settlement we make on Mars is probably gonna have to be underground because of the radiation. What's Psych Up do? Copies the target's effects to the user? I'm not really sure what that does. I'm not gonna worry about it. Yeah, so any, like, settlement or whatever, like a Martian colony would probably have to be built underground to protect it. Uh, can't let any of the dust in, because that Martian dust would just eat through any electronics and stuff. So you can't even go out. I mean, I guess as if you could anyway, because of the whole, no oxygen, terrible radiation. It's a burning hellhole or whatever. Well, I mean, I guess it's not burning, but it's just a regular, hellhole. But it's a good old hellhole, just like Ma used to make. Realistically, it might actually be easier to live on Venus than it might be on Mars. I think Venus has a magnetic field, doesn't it? I think it might. Actually, let me look this up real quick. Does Venus have a magnetic field? Apparently Venus does, although it's quite overtaxed with how close it is to the sun. How close it is to the sun. Yeah, it's like all bent back from these pictures, these visualizations. So maybe that's not the best. The problem with Venus is that it actually is a burning hellhole, but it has a similar composition to Earth. It's just much closer to the sun, so that adds difficulty to it. Something would have to be done about Venus's atmosphere, which is pretty much entirely just greenhouse gases, so they'd have to fix that probably. But I mean, at least it's got a magnetic field, I guess. You know what we need? What we really need? Dyson Swarm, okay? So this is the cool thing. This is what people should be working towards, right? Dyson Swarm. So the idea is to put all of these satellites in orbit around the sun that like have mirrors on them, and those mirrors reflect sunlight onto a specific point, like on Earth or whatever. Usually like a big solar array that'll catch everything, and you just make like so much power off of the sun. It's kind of like a light version of the Dyson Sphere, which is a proposed megastructure. Imagine like like a coconut, right? Imagine like a coconut and how it's hollow on the inside. Imagine something of that sort of similar shape, like around the sun with a bunch of solar panels on the inside. Basically, capture 100% of the Earth's, or rather, 100% of the sun's output. So all the energy that the sun is giving off, just collect that. And that's a Dyson sphere. But I mean, a Dyson sphere doesn't like, usually it's visualized as like the full sphere, but you could do like a half sphere or like a ring. A ring would be fine. You're still getting like a crap ton of energy. Like the sun gives off so much energy. Most of it just ends up going into deep space. Like we could be using that, and people are like, but dinosaur juice, burning fossil fuels. Like, there's no better price than free, and that's what the sun has given you. Like, all that energy just goes off into space, except for the little bit that hits the planets. They should be putting solar panels on every roof. Change my mind. Okay, looks like this one's got flying types. More birds. Hmm. Speaking of Dyson spheres, actually, I was just reminded of something. So there's this game, right? If you're a fan of like factory style games, like Factorio or anything like that, you should check out Dyson Sphere program. It's on Steam. It's a sort of factory game that tasks you with assembling, an interstellar supply chain with the end goal of being to construct Dyson Sphere around a star. It's really cool, really intuitive. It's still in development, so obviously, uh, do with that information what you will. Uh, but I don't know. I think even in its current state, like it's well worth the price of admission. Yeah, I'm thinking that those puffs on Jump Left, they gotta be like they really look like billboards, and uh the square aspect of it on the shadow like really sells me on it. But I think its body is probably like an actual sphere. That's weird to me that they decided to do it that way. I mean, I guess it makes sense though. Although they could have done something about the shadow. I mean, I guess they decided it wasn't that big of a deal. It's not like anyone uses Jump Pluff anyway. Light screen. No. 5 Fury Swipes. They were making a live-action adaptation of Moana, of all movies. Disney is. Uh, that just strikes me as so odd. Like Moana's not even an old movie. The other ones you could at least make the uh you could at least make the excuse that they were like, old. Some of those movies are, damn near as old as I am, but the fact that they're turning them into live action adaptations is so strange to me. Like, I don't know what their kick is with the live action. Like, are they just trying to like recash in on old stuff, Like, do they actually think that live action is like the future of their industry? I don't know. Like, Disney is really known for their animation, so just to see them put so much time and effort in remaking their classics as live action is very odd to me. And I mean, like, do these movies even like do well? I don't think they do, right? Most people shit on them, so they can't be that great, right? I'm pretty sure they said that they were gonna keep Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as, what's his name, Maui. So that'll be another movie that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has involved himself in. I don't think he's a bad actor. It's just the reliance on The Rock is quite strange to me. Like, it seems like he's in everything. Speaking about the Mario movie earlier, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, like, if in an alternate universe, they push to get Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to play, like, Bowser or something instead of Jack Black. Mm. Nope. No waffles. Little drinky drink. Oh, my can's empty. Oh. Some water here. That's empty too. I guess I'll just die. Draftfrig's a psychic type, right? I think it is. There's a beverage. I don't know if I've talked about this before. There is a beverage that I am slightly obsessed with, which is Pepsi Nitro. Don't know if anyone has heard of this. Seems to be kind of rare. I don't see it sold at a lot of places, but it's you know how like normal soft drinks are carbonated. You know they have carbon dioxide in them. Pepsi Nitro has nitrogen in it. It's nitrogenated. I think it's really good. It's very smooth. Like, you know, it doesn't have like it has like the bubbles in it are very small compared to other soft drinks. Mm. I also like Slurpees a lot and ices. I like frozen drinks. I've been going to Walmart a lot, so or well, there's a Speedway up by the Walmart where I live, so every time I go to Walmart, I stop by Speedway. Shout out to Speedway, not sponsored, but I wish I was. Like, they ain't even gotta send me money. Like, Speedway, if you want me to, if you want me to sponsor, if you want to sponsor me, just send me, like, as, honestly, as much Slurpee as you can. If you send me a Slurpee machine, like, you know, that's it. I'll sponsor you. Oh, I think I mismatched the moves I was gonna use. If anyone was wondering, my favorite flavor of Slurpee is the Mountain Dew. Although I really like all of them. Like, I don't think any of them are bad. The one, the Speedway near me, they have 4 flavors. They have the Mountain Dew, Coca-Cola, red, and blue. Red is cherry and blue is blue raspberry. That's also the order that I prefer them. Mountain Dew is my favorite, followed by the Coke, then cherry, then the blue raspberry. But honestly, I'm happy with any of them. That's just the order that I prefer them. Sneasel and Swallow. More ice types, because I love ice types. I don't know if anyone heard, but I love ice types. They're my favorite. I love them. I'm being, what's the word? The opposite of truthful. I'm being deceptive. I don't actually love them. I hate ice types. Okay, I don't hate them. I hate them. I hate them right now because I do not have good. My team is not good against ice types. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Forget I said anything. Doesn't matter. Haha! You are the fool. Bacayaro! Roblox, oof. Uh... Well, I was at Walmart recently, actually. I was digging through the bargain bin DVDs near the electronics section. They've got like these two bins full of old DVDs where you can, kind of root around. They've mostly thrown in like the DVDs that are like old or like slightly damaged in some way, but usually they're fine. Um, so I did that. Uh, uh, actually, I think we'll keep Espeon out for now because I don't want to. Or we'll keep Umbreon out and we'll switch out Waffles. But they actually had some pretty good pickings in there. Like you got to dig for it yourself, basically. They really are just sort of haphazardly thrown into the bin. So if you want to find anything good, you got to dig for it. but I saw some good stuff in there. Uh, Specifically, they had a 3-pack of the oh, Skull Bash. Oh, they had a 3-pack of the new Godzilla King Kong movies. They had Godzilla 2014, Kong Return to Skull Island, and uh, Godzilla King of the Monsters. So the one that was missing was Godzilla versus King Kong, which is a shame because that one was actually. I mean, I guess it was fine, but I don't know. I like Godzilla and I like King Kong. Um, I wish the movies though spent more time like showing Godzilla and King Kong. It feels like the movies produced by Legendary focus a lot on the humans watching King Kong do stuff, and I'm just like, I just want to watch like King Kong do stuff and Godzilla do stuff. Like, if they do stuff like if they fight like other monsters, like that's even better. Pacific Rim's pretty good about that, I guess. I've recently grown a great appreciation for Guillermo del Toro and the works that he creates. I recently watched the I don't know if I'd say recently. I guess it's been a couple months now. The new Pinocchio movie that he made. It's pretty good. Like it's kind of a banger, honestly. Fuck it. Let's just do an earthquake if we can get it off. But I liked it because it tackled some of the more philosophical implications of Pinocchio rather than just like, oh, I'm a real boy, you know, like what does it mean, I guess, like to be a real boy? Like just because Pinocchio's made of wood, is he not real, you know? Asking the questions that I didn't even know I want answers to. Of course, hands down, the best version of Pinocchio is the one from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy that wants to eat Billy's flesh so he can become a real boy. That's still the best one. Sorry, sorry, Mr. Del Toro, but you lost this battle before it even started. Pacific Rim 2 wasn't that great. There, I said it. There, I said it. Pacific Rim 1 is pretty good, though. Alright, we are nearly there. So I think we should probably be switching in some of the Pokemon that still need levels. Leveling is going a bit slower than I thought. I thought I'd done enough grinding off screen, but I guess not. Pupitar, Granbull. Ew. Pupitar is a ground type, right? I think it is. Let's just use Razor Leaf and Surf. Mantine. My favorite movie of all time, though, is probably The Iron Giant. It's one of my favorites. I have very few movies that like I go back to and like watch a second or third or well, really any multiple times. Iron Giant's definitely one of them, though. For anyone who's not aware, the Iron Giant is the story of a boy living in the 50s in 1950s Maine who stumbles upon a Iron Giant, a giant metal robot from outer space who has come to Earth for some unknown reason. It's not really important, I guess. Well, I mean, I guess it is kind of important. But the boy and the giant quickly become friends. The giant doesn't really remember like anything about, you know, like who he is or where he came from. So the boy, whose name is Hogarth, which is a very old-fashioned name that does not get used anymore, decides to, you know, sort of teach him about the world. Mostly in the ideas of him being like Superman, right? So Hogarth collects comics or whatever, and he loves Superman. Um, so you know, it's a movie about like expectations and stuff, and like, I mean, the movie pretty much tells you its moral like straight out. It's, you know, you are who you choose to be, and and that's really what it's all about. Is like you get to choose like what you want to be. You don't have to let other people's expectations or labels define who you are. And I think that that's a great message. And you know what? It looks great. It's fully animated. It's got a great voice cast, including, you know, uh, oh gosh, what's his name? Normally, I can always remember his name. The guy played Groot. He's in all the Fast and Furious movies. He has the deep voice, you know. Chronicles of Riddick. Gosh, why can I not remember his name? I can usually name him off the top of my head. Um, uh, here's a picture of him, but mm, Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel. Yeah. Okay. So it's Vin Diesel who does the voice. He does a great job. I know I just couldn't remember his name now, but that is not that is because of my own inability to remember basic information. It's actually got a pretty decent cast characters. I mean, I'd say Vin Diesel is probably probably the best pick for his character. But the other ones are still good. Alright, what's this guy got? Mawile and Machoke. Machoke. An Earthquake might be good. Oof. Oh, wow. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. Okay. Uh... Hmm. Uh... Is Dragon not very effective against Steel? I guess it must not be. I don't remember that matchup, though. I guess we can do Steel on Steel action. Okay, well that did, like, nothing. It's probably a bad idea. I want to get rid of that Mawile, and I don't have anything else that's effective. Yeah, it was a bad idea. I was right. But I was also wrong. Finally. Uh-oh. I'm betting on the Quagsire getting knocked out. And then I'm betting again that it can't move because of paralysis, or that moves slower rather. Hooray! Alright, so we cleared a couple areas of Mount Battle. We got some EXP. We're much closer now to being able to uh, finish the game. Mm, yeah, we'll go ahead and teleport back. Okay. We do get to retain our highest cleared area, so we've got that. I think we're probably going to call it there for the day. Sorry we couldn't do more story stuff, but I didn't realize how difficult those battles were going to be. Um, but yeah, thank you for watching and for listening, if indeed you still are, and thank you again. Goodbye.